Hey team, Patrick here. If you're struggling to generate enough power or racket head speed on your forehand, then this is the video for you, as I'm going to explain the famous racket lag position. What it is, why we need it, and how do we actually achieve it. As there's a lot of information out there, but then this can be misleading. So let's get into it. So what actually is racket lag? Well, it's where prior to contact, the racket head is delayed and lagging behind my hand and the grip end, so the butt cap is actually pointing at the ball. This would be a common thread from all pros and high-level forehands, but it's often difficult to spot at full speed, and you're often going to have to pause or slow footage down. We need this, as if I was to come through with my arm and body at the same time, there'd be no force and leverage over the ball and very little speed. This would indicate to me a lot of tightness and tension in the arm, which could lead to injuries over time. But with the racket lag, we get this crack the whip effect. You also keep this extended position into contact. So at contact, your wrist is extended, laid back, which puts it in a very strong and stable position and allows you to hit your target with a contact out in front of your body. You can see if my wrist wasn't extended back at contact and I hit out in front, then I'm going to shank the ball and hit it off to my left-hand side. Before getting into how to achieve this, it's important to say we don't want to try and make this position happen. It happens intuitively on its own, and the pros might not even be aware that they're in certain positions. I've never got anybody to practice wrist lag implicitly, as you'd have to slow your swing down and put in this hitch. You'd ruin your fluid motion if you tried to stop in this position. So don't force it. It's going to be a byproduct of the good mechanics that we'll cover in the next part of the video. In our setup, we want a good coil with our shoulders turned past our hips. So we store energy and stretch the muscles. Get the racket head above your hand as this puts the wrist in this extended position, and support the weight of the racket with your non-dominant hand. So find this comfortable position, as this allows you to stay loose and relaxed with your grip, and it's then easier to achieve the racket lag. Then we have our racket drop, and without using my wrist, but using my body first and a loose arm, I get into this position. I don't feel I actively manipulate the racket. I've got a passive arm and wrist. I leave them behind, turn my body first, so the racket is pulled into the contact through the rotation of my body and not pushed into the contact with my arm. And the weight from the tip of the racket holds it back and lays the wrist back. You can see when I drive through my legs and open my body, the butt cap arrives at the ball first, and then the racket head has to catch up very quickly. But if I just move my arm and don't rotate, but stay sideways, the wrist is going to remain straight throughout the stroke, and the butt cap will stay facing towards me. This is what we know as the kinetic chain. It starts from the ground up, and if I can move my body at a speed, say, of a figure of 1, well, that sends energy into my arm, which can move at 10, and then my wrist can move at 100, and finally the racket at 1,000. It's this multiplier effect. Body, arm, wrist, racket. Again, we don't try and create this snap, this pronation. This is happening too quickly, and then you'd be inconsistent. The racket head releases due to the natural centrifugal force of the racket head, and the butt cap, again, finishes pointing down to the other end of the court. So I reach this position twice, here and here. Right team, I hope this has helped to clear up some of the complexities around this topic, and if it has, then please leave the video a like, comment down below and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on court in the next one. Cheers guys!